they had a concept that it would be like Father of the Bride.
Yeah.
Like Three Men and a Bride.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great idea.
I would go see that 10 times tomorrow.
Well,
I really would.
Nobody's called, nobody's written.
They're gonna do it right now. You guys, come on. Three Men and a Bride.
Tom Selleck has been one of the most well-liked stars in Hollywood for decades, and he has earned millions of dollars as a result of his success. Through his career, he has amassed an impressive fortune, beginning with his paycheck of $500,000 per episode on Magnum PI, which is equivalent to $1.2 million in today's currency, and continuing with his wage of $200,000 per episode on Blue Bloods. The wealth of Tom Selleck, who is estimated to have a net worth of $45 million, is not limited to his acting career. It also includes investments in real estate and syndication deals for his groundbreaking television shows. Nevertheless, this extraordinary fortune is connected to deliberations that are deeply personal, ranging from sacrifices made for his ranch to decisions that have left his family in awe. The things that Tom Selleck left behind that caused his family to shed tears are now known. Keep up with the news to learn the story that lies behind the legacy. One of those stories that makes you want to lean in closer and listen to every word that is said is the one that Tom Selleck has to tell. It is possible that you are familiar with him as the stalwart private investigator seen in Magnum PI who sported an unforgettable mustache, or the steady and commanding head of the New York Police Department in Blue Bloods. But Tom Selleck is so much more than what he appears to be in front of the camera. His life has been full of grit, significant choices, and a fortune that he has built through sheer determination. Allow me to take you back to the beginning. Tom was not born into a life of fame or into the Hollywood industry. He entered the world in the year 1945 in the city of Detroit, but he spent his childhood in Sherman Oaks, California, after his family relocated to the West when he was only 3 years old. Consider the following scenario. A young boy who was tall and reserved was playing basketball at school. He had no idea that he would one day become a phenomenon. Following that, he received a basketball scholarship to attend the University of Southern California with the intention of continuing his education in the field of business administration. Not until his senior year, when everything began to change, did he even consider pursuing a career in acting. Put yourself in the shoes of a college student who has recently discovered that he has a passion for performing and decides to take a chance by enrolling in acting classes. He wasn't content to merely daydream about things. Under the tutelage of the renowned acting coach Milton Katsoulis, Tom put in a lot of effort to learn his craft. However, it is important to not overlook another period of his life that had a significant impact on him. This was the period of time that he spent serving in the California Army National Guard from 1967 to 1973. He carried the qualities of discipline and loyalty that he learned during those years into his professional life. Moving on, let's skip ahead a little bit. Selleck's initial experience in the entertainment industry was not particularly glamorous. He appeared in a great number of commercials. You name it, Pepsi, Right Guard, Salem cigarettes, and everything else. As a result of his tireless efforts, he was able to secure small roles in television shows such as The Rockford Files. It wasn't an easy path to success. Despite his best efforts, he was repeatedly turned down for roles in television pilots, and a number of those pilots did not even make it past the first episode. To the contrary, Tom Selleck did not give up, but he continued on. Next, the year 1980 arrived, the year that brought about a sea change. In the role of Thomas Magnum, Tom Selleck was cast. Magnum PI was more than just a television show. Imagine him wearing a Hawaiian shirt, driving a Ferrari, and sporting that mustache because he was playing the role of the charming private investigator. It constituted a phenomenon. Selleck was able to solve cases with a laid-back style that only he could pull off, and people tuned in to watch him do it for 8 seasons. Additionally, the critics adored him. It was in 1984 when he was awarded an Emmy, which cemented his position as a television legend. Furthermore, what is even more remarkable is the extent to which this role paid off, quite literally. In the height of the show's popularity, Selleck earned $500,000 per episode. The staggering amount of $1.2 million per episode arises when you take into account the current value of the dollar. That sum of money was more than just a few figures on a paycheck. This became the basis upon which a fortune was built. Nevertheless, here is something that demonstrates Selleck's personality. While in Magnum PI in its final season, Tom made a request to the studio that they provide the crew with $1,000 bonuses as a token of appreciation for all of their hard work. On the other hand, Tom did not back down when the studio said no. In its place, he made use of his own bonus in order to implement it. The checks were written by him himself. Just give that some thought for a second. You think there are a lot of people in Hollywood who would do the same thing, right? You might have anticipated that Selleck would slow down after the release of Magnum P.I. It wasn't him. He demonstrated that he was capable of performing comedic roles just as well as dramatic ones by taking on roles such as Three Men and a Baby, which demonstrated his versatility. And then, of course, there was his unforgettable stint on Friends, in which he played the role of Dr. Richard Burke, the dashing older man who won Monica's heart and, let's be honest, the audience's life as well. Even more Emmy nominations were bestowed upon him as a result of his work on Friends. However, Selleck was not yet finished constructing his legacy. Blue Bloods is a drama that was released in 2010 and focuses on a family of law enforcement officers in New York City. He played the role of Frank Reagan in the season. The show was an instant hit and ran for a total of 14 seasons, with Selleck serving as the show's anchor and starring as the principled and consistent police commissioner. The interesting part is about to begin. Selleck's salary on Blue Bloods was approximately $200,000 per episode, which is equivalent to $4.8 million per season. This is a significant decrease from his salary on Magnum, but he didn't voice any complaints. For the sake of the show's audience, he and his fellow cast members reached an agreement to reduce their salaries by 25% during the show's final season. This resulted in his earnings per episode falling to $150,000, demonstrating once more that for Tom Selleck, it was not only about the money, the work and the people are what mattered the most. With that being said, have you ever pondered the manner in which a wealthy individual such as Selleck handles his wealth? There is more to it than just acting. Throughout the years, he has made astute investments and pursued lucrative opportunities that are not associated with the entertainment industry. Selleck has found a wealth of opportunities through syndication alone. Give it some thought. There is a constant stream of reruns of Magnum, Private Investigator, and Blue Bloods on television, and each one brings in additional revenue for Selleck. Also, let's not overlook those commercials, shall we? Selleck has always found ways to keep his brand alive and thriving, whether it be through advertisements for reverse mortgages in recent years or advertisements for Pepsi in his early days. It's likely that you're curious about the estimated value of this individual at this point. How many is it? $45 million, which is quite a sum. The amount is staggering, having been constructed one brick at a time over the course of 50 years of exertion. But here's where things get interesting. There is more to Selleck than simply sitting on his wealth. He is a man who has always been generous, whether it be by providing bonuses for a crew, by contributing to the causes that he cares about, or by sacrificing his salary for the sake of a show that he adores. Moreover, just when you believe that you have a complete understanding of the extraordinary life of Tom Selleck, there is more to discover. There is no doubt that $45 million is a staggering sum. However, the way he has lived his life and the decisions he has made paint a much more complete picture of the man who is behind the fame. Okay, let's go a little bit further. It is not enough for Tom Selleck to simply amass millions of dollars and then retire. Keeping things as they are, putting in a lot of effort, and making astute investments have all contributed to the success of his life. Consider his ranch in Ventura, California, which spans 65 acres. A luxurious retreat is not the only thing it is. Home is here, a property with a rich history. This one is tucked away in the verdant Hidden Valley close to Thousand Oaks. In 1988, Selleck purchased the property, which had previously been owned by none other than Dean Martin. Just picture that. In addition to being a home steeped in Hollywood legend, Selleck now considers this home to be his sanctuary. Although the ranch was known for its peaceful evenings and family dinners, this was not always the case. Once upon a time, it was a productive avocado farm. Do you not find it difficult to imagine Tom Selleck, the famous television personality, strolling through rows of avocado trees and getting his hands dirty? This was his way of keeping himself rooted in reality, and he cherished it. However, when severe drought struck, the avocado trees were unable to withstand the conditions. The ranch is now home to more than 1,500 trees that are native to India. On these days, it is more of a retreat, a place where Selleck can go to recharge his batteries after spending long days on set. He said, "I enjoy seeing things develop over time." It's a straightforward statement, but but it conveys a great deal of information about the man who has built a life that is based on equilibrium, and that equilibrium is not a coincidence. Do you recall the time when Selleck left his position at Magnum PI, at the pinnacle of his famousness? No, he was not worn out by the role. Rather, he was worn out by the routine. As a result of his desire to avoid being consumed by the pressures of Hollywood, he decided to prioritize his family. He opted for privacy. Despite the fact that the world was rife with rumors that his career was over, Selleck did not care about the situation. He was aware of what was real. Nevertheless, you should not for a moment believe that this is the end of Tom Selleck's story. When he returned to the spotlight, he did so on his own terms, and the time he spent away from the spotlight provided him with perspective. Not only did he play these roles, but he also created them. Selleck was able to mold his career into something that was successful for him by developing his skills as an actor, producer, and even director. Notable projects that he worked on as a co-producer include Monty Walsh and all 9 Jesse Stone films. If you have ever witnessed him in his role as the contemplative and multifaceted Jesse Stone, you are aware of the amount of heart that he puts into his work. In his capacity as the spokesperson for the American Advisors Group, AAG, which promotes reverse mortgages, you have most likely encountered him. Many people are taken aback by this move, but for Selleck, it is merely an additional method of connecting with individuals. He has faith in the cause that he is advocating for, and that is what makes it successful. But here's a twist that you might not have anticipated. Selleck's life has not been without its share of challenges and difficulties. During the year 2015, he found himself in the middle of a controversy regarding water. During the drought that was occurring in California, the Caleguas Municipal Water District accused him of transferring more than 1 million liters of water to his ranch during that time. Because of the media attention it received, Selleck was forced to pay a settlement of $22,000. It was a rare hiccup in an otherwise steady life for someone as meticulous and grounded as Selleck, with the exception of this one instance. On the other hand, he learned to deal with it and moved on with his life. Within the realm of real estate, there exists an additional facet of Selleck's story that is equally captivating. Indeed, in addition to being an actor and a rancher, he is also an astute investor. At one point in time, he rented a home on a Kule Kule terrace in Honolulu, Hawaii, and then later ended up purchasing the property. In the year 2020, the stunning property was put up for sale with a price tag of $4.4 million. When you add to that the fact that he owns a sprawling ranch in California, you begin to get a picture of a man who is able to transform his earnings into something that will keep increasing in value over time. The most fascinating aspect of Selleck's journey is the fact that he has been able to accomplish everything while maintaining a clear sense of his priorities. On multiple occasions, he has stated that his family is his top priority. In addition to being a devoted husband and father, Selleck has been married to Jilly Mack for more than 3 decades. In addition to having a passion for the great outdoors, his daughter Hannah has established a name for herself as an accomplished equestrian. Additionally, Kevin Selleck, who is his son from his first marriage, is still a member of the Selleck family, which is very close-knit. It should come as no surprise that Selleck is not solely motivated by fame or fortune. It is true that he is proud of his work, but he is even more proud of the life that he has constructed for himself away from the cameras. His actions, whether it be planting trees on his ranch or taking a pay cut to ensure the survival of blue bloods, demonstrate that he is a man who places a higher value on honesty than he does on flash. On the other hand, even for someone like Tom Selleck, life does not always go according to every single script. It is true that he has amassed a fortune and a legacy that the majority of people can only dream of, but when you live on a ranch that spans 65 acres, even $45 million can feel like a little bit of a compromise. In regard to that, Tom has been vocal. No, he is not the type of person who would ever pretend to be unbeatable. In addition, as the conclusion of Blue Bloods draws near, he is very concerned about the future of his ranch and the events that are to follow. Once he said, "You know, I hope that I continue to work enough to keep the place," but he was only half joking about it. Just picture that. Regarding the preservation of his cherished ranch, Tom Selleck, the man who has commanded our attention for decades, expressed considerable concern. To tell you the truth, Tom is a character. He never fails to be realistic. He is familiar with numerical values. Being the owner of a property that spans 65 acres is not an inexpensive endeavor. Although he does not personally repair fences, the amount of time and money that is required to keep everything operational is substantial. However, now that he is getting closer to the age of 80, the idea of having to let it go is not just difficult, it is extremely upsetting. Moreover, Tom is not the only person who has a connection to the ranch. Jillie Mack, his wife, has continued to be by his side for the past 37 years. They have endured everything together, from the intense spotlight of Hollywood to the quiet moments of ranch life. They have been through that together. Jillie, who had a career as an actress in the past, deviated from her profession in order to concentrate on her family. You have the impression that she is the constant presence that lies behind Tom's larger-than-life persona, continually ensuring that he remains grounded. Hannah, the couple's daughter, spent her childhood on that ranch. It was there that she first became interested in horses and went on to establish a successful career as a professional equestrian. Hannah, who is now in her 30s, has established herself as a formidable competitor in the world of horse jumping. She has done so by emulating the principles that her parents instilled in her, which include a love for the straightforward aspects of life, a commitment to hard work, and discipline. In spite of all the affection and memories that are associated with that land, the expense of maintaining it has become an increasingly difficult challenge. Tom is a wise individual. Even though he has always been careful with his finances, he has admitted that operating a ranch as a hobby involves a significant financial investment. In addition, the conclusion of Blue Bloods means that the consistent paycheck that has been essential to the survival of everything will soon come to an end. Is my life completely set? One time, Tom inquired, and then he responded in an honest manner, "Yeah, but maybe not on a 63-acre ranch." Nevertheless, it is not just about the money. The management of the ranch requires a lot of energy, and although Tom is in excellent physical condition for his age, he is not immune to the challenges that come with getting older. It is possible for the long days and never-ending responsibilities of ranch life to take their toll on him, even if he is not physically present to perform all of the laborious tasks himself. Tom Selleck, on the other hand, has a peculiar quality. He's not the kind of guy who would give up on something. Even at this very moment, as he navigates the unpredictability of what lies ahead, he is looking for ways to push through and continue. He is not yet prepared to retire, and the idea of downsizing makes him feel as though he is giving up, which is a decision that he is not yet prepared to make. As someone who has spent his entire life building things up, from his career to his home, the concept of taking a step back is not something that comes easily to individuals. In addition, let us not forget his annoyance with the way that Blue Bloods came to an end. When he was talking about how the success of the show was frequently taken for granted, he admitted that he was feeling a little frustrated. Following 14 seasons of delivering outstanding performances, he desired additional time, additional opportunities to tell stories, and the opportunity to continue doing what he enjoys. The sudden conclusion was like a door shutting before he was prepared to take it. And at this point, the question is still up in the air. What is Tom Selleck going to do next? However, if there is one thing that we know about Tom, it is that he is not the type of person who sits still. This is a very important question. He has already made a veiled reference to the fact that he would like to work on projects that bring him back to his roots, such as something that literally brings him back to the saddle. Imagine that Tom Selleck is in another Western, and that he is riding a horse while he is tall and proud, that the horizon behind him is covered in dust. It is to that location that he claims his heart is pulling him. He has even considered the possibility of forming a partnership with Taylor Sheridan, the person responsible for Yellowstone's creation. Who wouldn't want to see Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott sharing the screen in a gritty, sprawling Western? Let's be honest about it. Who wouldn't want to see them together? It is a pretty obvious fit. As he has stated, "I would like to ride a horse once more." His voice carries with it a sense of yearning that is audible. You are able to visualize it, right? While riding through the rough terrain, Tom Selleck, whose mustache is as iconic as it has ever been, continues to command the screen in a way that only he can. It's possible that his next move won't be solely about what he wants, though. Another possibility is that it is about what the audience wants. And if you have ever asked a fan of Tom Selleck what they would like to see more of, the answer almost always comes back to one name being mentioned. It was Jesse Stone. Over the course of many years, that dark and complicated character has been a fan favorite, and Tom is well aware of this fact. The question, when is the next Jesse Stone movie going to be released, is asked of him wherever he goes. Despite the fact that he has not yet begun working on it, he has dropped hints that the character may have one more story before they are finished. Tom recently stated that Jesse is now an older character, but this does not mean that he is no longer a viable character. At the very moment that he is discussing it, you can almost feel the wheels turning in his mind. Then, of course, there is the aspect of the situation that pertains to business. Tom has been the popular and reliable face of American Advisors Group for many years, and he has been featured in advertisements for reverse mortgages. It is impossible not to believe him when you see him on screen, explaining a complicated financial product in a calm and collected manner. There's a good reason why they went with him. He exudes assurance and reliability. In no way is he ostentatious or extravagant. Because he is consistent, self-assured, and believable, having that kind of reassurance is important for retirees who are contemplating significant choices regarding their life savings. In addition, it is not simply a matter of selling a product. Tom is confident in the work that he is doing. The reason he agreed to take on the role in the first place was because of this issue. For the time being, Tom's future appears to be a story that is just about to be presented to the audience. Will he embark on a journey that is completely unanticipated? Will he return to the world of Jesse Stone, or will he perform one final Western before retiring? When it comes to Tom Selleck, you never really know what's going to happen next, but you can bet that it will be something spectacular to watch.